The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, President of the Republic of Angola. I request protocol to escort His Excellency. On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency João Manuel Gonçalves Lourenço, of the President of the Republic of Angola, and to invite him to address the Assembly.
Your Excellencies, members of the Presidium of the United Nations, Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, ladies and gentlemen. From the top of this important tribune, I would like to salute everybody present here, wishing that this meeting will be a further decisive step in the search for peace and international security, and towards a fair and more balanced relationship among all nations. The still existing political and military conflicts, including the huge economic inequalities, pose a permanent threat to all mankind, a fact that compels us to unite ourselves in a common effort in solving the real problems which constitute our priorities, such as environment protection, definitive eradication of hunger and poverty, endemic diseases, human trafficking, drug trafficking, illegal immigration, terrorism and other threats against peace, so as to create a conducive environment for social progress and development. In order to meet these noble goals, it is imperative that we focus all our efforts on the peaceful resolution of the conflicts that lead some countries to a permanent climate of tension and imminent war. We stand for multilateralism in international relations, as it is alone that can contribute effectively to the world's peace and security. For this reason, it is never too much to insist on the need for a deep reform of the United Nations organization, so that this organization can better fulfill its great responsibility for conflict management and resolution, as well as war prevention. We reiterate the need to increase the number of permanent members of the Security Council, including particularly Africa and South America, as the current composition, which contemplated at that time mainly the winning power of the World War II, does no longer reflect the need for a fair global geostrategic balance. Ladies and gentlemen, the prevailing tension in the Korean Peninsula, which constitutes a danger to the world's peace, should remain one of the major concerns of the international community. Therefore, we encourage and congratulate the diplomatic efforts being made by the big world powers, namely the United States of America, Russia, and China, to make that part of our planet a home of peace and security. We are also concerned about the perpetuating Middle East conflict, and it is crucial that the successive and pertinent UN Security Council resolutions are upheld, in particular those concerning the importance of the establishment of an independent Palestinian state living in peace with the State of Israel, and that they develop between them normal neighborly relations and economic cooperation. With regard to the growing tensions in the Persian Gulf, where the greatest crude reserves are under threat by latent conflict and in the imminence of endangering global energy security, we call for all parties to refrain and that best solutions are found at negotiating table. Africa, our continent, has been ravaged by terrorism, especially that of religious fundamentalism nature, which affects countries such as Mali, Nigeria, Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Chad, the Central African Republic, and Somalia, just to name a few. The international community and the African Union in particular should pay a particular attention to the need to normalize the political situation in Libya, as territories controlled by different militia groups are the logistical source of arms and ammunitions of the fundamentalist groups operating in Africa. Angola has been making its modest contribution as far as possible in the conflict prevention and resolution, particularly in the SADC, Great Lakes and Central African regions, such as was the most recent case of the Rwanda-Uganda Memorandum of Understanding signed in Luanda, and that seems to us an important step in preventing a conflict that was incubated and about to break out. I would like to take this opportunity from this tribune to call for the end to the decades-old economic embargo imposed on Cuba, especially given the recent fact that of an open window of opportunity for rapprochement and normalcy of relation was held. Allow me equally to call for the end of trade war that currently opposes two economic powers, the US and China, considering the negative consequences already being felt in the global economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is helplessly watching the phenomenon of climate change and global warming, which have been worsening as the latest scientific studies confirm, and a rampant rise in the natural phenomena and their devastating consequences as it proliferates a little around the world through typhoons, cyclones, tsunami, floods, or even severe droughts. The concrete examples of these phenomena multiply all over the world, which leads us to associate ourselves to those who report the responsibility of those who persist in ignoring these signs and feel themselves entitled to continue supporting polluting industries. We welcome the initiative of the recent protests in hundreds of countries around the world, which have become a true cordon in advocacy for the preservation of environment and in defense of our planet, which is our common home. Let us work together to preserve the remaining rainforest in South America, in Africa, and Asia, such as the forests of the basins of the river Amazon, the river Congo, which have not yet been completely devastated by the mankind, are the last reserves for oxygen renewal and absorbers of carbon dioxide and carbon chloride, both depleting the ozone layer. The Sustainable Development Goals, which are intended to give continuity to the Millennium Development Goals, although noble and fair, are not on themselves a guarantee for a better result in the future. In order for us to achieve the desired sustainable development, it is important that the expected outcomes of this agenda should be object of positive brainstorming about alternative projects that are appropriate to the political situation and concrete reality of the countries that mostly are concerned. Conflicts, hunger, misery, and diseases are not eliminated only with political and bureaucratic solutions, but above all, through good governance, combating corruption and other social evils, protecting environment and strengthening values such as human dignity, responsible and inclusive citizenship, social justice, and equality of opportunities. In this context, it is important to highlight the role of youth, the only driving force capable of overcoming all these challenges. It is imperative to deepen the quality of their education, both technically and culturally, so that their specific training takes into account the contribution of these great icons from different cultures and civilizations who, throughout centuries, have helped us understand better and love the world of our fellow men. It is with profound hope in the commitment of these youth that I remain optimistic and continue to believe that we can bequeath a better world to our descendants. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of Angola in particular, I would like to highlight the deep ongoing reforms that aim to actually build a democratic state of rule of law, fighting corruption and impunity, promote culture of accountability by civil servants to create a business environment that is more attractive to domestic and foreign private investment, and thereby increasing domestic production of goods and services and reducing imports in goods, and increase the range and quantity of exportable goods, thereby increase job supply. The government is taking all these challenges very seriously and transparently. Among other measures, about 150 state-owned companies and assets from different sectors of our economy are being, including the oil and gas sector, are under privatization, and we have launched an ambitious plan for construction and rehabilitation of water and energy production and distribution infrastructure, construction of hospitals and education establishments, secondary and tertiary roads, and other repairs, which will cover all the country's 164 municipalities where the budget already secured. We also take this opportunity to declare that Angola is now open to the world, open to the foreign investment in all areas of our economy. Thank you very much for your attention.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I wish to thank President of the Republic of Angola for the statement just made. May I request representatives to remain seated while we greet the head of state.